Welcome to Project Prison. We have already shown you the bars on your windows: economics, sports, fear, the three-dimensional cage. But who built the prison itself? We are told the human history is a collection of myths and fairy tales. That gods descended from the heavens to teach us love, morality, and agriculture. This is a lie. And the most terrifying part is that the evidence of this lie has been in the public domain for 150 years. You are simply advised not to read it closely. Today, we open the oldest files on the planet. We assert Sumerian tablets, Babylonian epics, Egyptian texts, and even the Bible are not spiritual books. They are declassified technical reports on colonization, genetic experiments, and the creation of a labor force. There is no mysticism in these texts. There are blueprints, conflict protocols, and operating manuals. Today, Episode 9, Myths as an Ancient Manual. We identify our overseer. We will name the one who created this system and prove documentarily. We are not children of God, but a biological tool for resource extraction that once spiraled out of control. Let's cast aside religious awe and look at the dry facts of cuneiform. Let us turn to a text that is thousands of years older than the Bible, the Epic of Atrahasis. This is not a fairy tale. It is a chronicle of a labor dispute. The text begins with the words, "When the gods, like men, bore the burden and endured the toil of the gods was heavy. The suffering was great." Do you hear this? The gods worked. The Anunnaki arrived on Earth not for an excursion. They needed resources, specifically gold, mentioned in the texts as a necessary element for their atmosphere. But the higher caste Anunnaki forced the lower caste Igigi to work. They dug the beds of the Tigris and Euphrates rivers. After 40 years, the Igigi grew tired. What happened next? They didn't start praying. They burned their tools, surrounded the palace of the chief administrator in Lil, and declared a strike. This is recorded in the tablets. Enlil, like a typical cruel director, wanted to execute the rebels. But the ruler's chief scientist, Enki, proposed another solution. Why punish them? The toil is indeed heavy. Let us create a replacement. This is the moment of humanity's birth, not out of love, but out of the need for cheap labor. The Council of Gods decided to create Lulu Amalu, the mixed worker. Forget children's stories about being molded from a lump of clay. Sumerian texts describe a more complex process. At that time, primates, Homo erectus, already existed on Earth. They were ideal candidates. Incredibly strong, resilient, and adapted to Earth's gravity. They were ready-made biological machines. But they had a critical flaw, a lack of intelligence. They were animals. They didn't understand language, couldn't use complex tools, and didn't obey discipline. Then Enki proposed a genetic modification to take the primate base physical strength and integrate the Anunnaki genome, the operating system for understanding commands, into it. This was pure pragmatism. They didn't need a genius. They needed a biorobot smart enough to hold a shovel and fear an overseer, but not conscious enough to ask the question, "Who am I?" We are a hybrid of the beast's strength and the colonizer's mind. But who manages these managers? Who created the very physics of this world, where everything is built on devouring one another? The Gnostics preserved this knowledge, and they called him the Demiurge. In Greek, this isn't creator in a high sense. It is craftsman or artisan. The Gnostics claimed the absolute God, the source of light, could not have created a world where children die of diseases and animals tear each other to pieces for survival. A perfect God does not create mistakes. Therefore, this world was created by someone else, a blind, arrogant entity that separated itself from the pleroma fullness. He is the chief architect of the prison. He is jealous. In the Old Testament, he explicitly says, "I am a jealous God, and there is no other besides me." Whom can the only God be jealous of? Only one who knows that he is not the only one and not the real one. His assistants are the archons, rulers. In Sumerian texts, these are the same Anunnaki. In our reality, they are energy parasites. They do not have access to the eternal source of energy. Therefore, we are batteries for them. That is why the prison is designed so that you constantly generate emotions. Not joy, it is high frequency and tasteless to them, but fear, anger, lust, and envy. This is the electricity that powers the perimeter. Now, let's reread the story of Eden as an intelligence agency report. The Sumerian word Eden means home of the righteous, but also steppe or plain. It was a closed biostation, a nursery. Adam and Eve lived there, the first successful prototypes. The overseer, Yahweh/Enlil, sets one condition: do not eat from the tree of knowledge. We are told this was disobedience, for which we were punished with mortality. This is a lie. First, the serpent. In ancient traditions, the serpent is a symbol of wisdom, a symbol of DNA, the characteristic double helix. In Sumer, the emblem of Enki, the scientist who protected humans, was specifically a serpent. The serpent said, "You will not die. Your eyes will be opened, and you will be like gods," meaning you will receive gnosis, awareness. You will understand who you are. You will stop being biorobots and become sovereign beings. Second, the reaction of the overseer. In the Bible, there is a phrase often ignored. God says to the other Elohim, "Behold, Adam has become like one of us, knowing good and evil. And now, lest he reach out his hand and take also from the tree of life and eat and live forever." He wasn't punishing for sin. He was afraid. He was afraid of competition. The prisoners obtained the access codes. The expulsion from paradise was not a moral fall. It was a deportation. We were thrown into a harsh 3D environment, and our lifespan was shortened, genetics altered, so that we would forget our divine nature and occupy ourselves only with survival. And the Great Flood? In the Sumerian version, Enlil explicitly says, "The noise of humanity has become unbearable. They prevent me from sleeping." Humans became too numerous and too conscious. The system performed a hard reset to start the cycle again, this time with a more obedient version of slaves. So, the picture is complete. The evidence is on the table. Myths are encrypted warnings. We were created as a resource. They tried to destroy us with floods and wars every time we raised our heads. But there is one detail the architects did not account for. God's blood was added to the human. We have the spark, that part which does not belong to the Demiurge. We are the carriers of a code that can break this prison from the inside. We have uncovered their history. We know their names. And to know the name of a demon is to have power over it. Now we need to understand exactly how they force us to forget this from generation to generation. How does the mechanism of erasing collective memory work? This was episode 9, Myths as an Ancient Manual. In the next release, we will reveal the topic, the War for Memory. We will show how a nation's code is destroyed to turn people into biomass without a past. Write in the comments, are you ready to admit that the gods of the past were simply cosmic colonizers? And are you ready to free yourself from their script? We look forward to your hypotheses regarding the creation of humanity and the questions that have matured during the viewing of this episode. Don't forget the likes and vibrant comments. See you in reality.